You keep making your payments every month, but when you check your balance, it barely seems to move. After months, or even years, you still owe far more than you expected, and it starts to feel like you'll never get out of debt. In this video, I'll show you why this keeps happening, what interest is quietly doing behind the scenes, and what you need to understand to finally make real progress. The reason this feels so frustrating is because it seems like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You're making your payments every month. Maybe you've even been paying more than the minimum whenever you can. So naturally, you expect your balance to start dropping. But then you open your next statement. And somehow you still owe almost the same amount. After a while, it starts to feel like all your effort isn't making much difference. You begin wondering if you'll ever get out of debt, even though you've been doing the right thing. The confusing part is that this usually isn't happening because you're failing. It's happening because there's something quietly working against every payment you make. Once you understand what's really happening, your debt starts making a lot more sense, and that's where we need to begin. The biggest misconception about debt is believing that every payment reduces what you owe by the amount you paid. Unfortunately, that's not how most debt works. Before your payment reduces your balance, interest takes its share first. Every payment helps, but before most of it reaches your balance, interest takes its share first. That's why your debt can seem almost unchanged even after months of making payments. You're making progress, but not nearly as much as it looks like you should. That's why two people can both make the same monthly payment and get completely different results depending on their interest rate. The higher the interest, the more of each payment gets absorbed before it reaches the balance you're trying to eliminate. That's why your debt can feel like it's barely moving, even after months of doing exactly what you promised yourself you would do. The good news is that this doesn't mean you're trapped forever. It means you're finally seeing the real problem. Once you understand how interest quietly slows your progress, you can start making decisions that help more of every payment go toward eliminating your debt instead of simply keeping it alive. The longer this continues, the more expensive debt becomes. It's not just because you're paying interest today. It's because interest keeps extending the amount of time you're carrying that debt. That means more monthly payments, more interest charges, and less money available for the things that could actually improve your financial future. Instead of building an emergency fund, investing for retirement, or saving for your next goal, a portion of your income keeps going toward old debt month after month. That's why debt can make it feel like you're running in place financially. Your paycheck keeps coming in, your payments keep going out, but your financial life doesn't seem to move forward. The emotional cost can be just as heavy. After making payments for so long without seeing much progress, it's easy to become discouraged. Some people stop paying extra because it feels pointless. Others give up on bigger financial goals because they assume they'll always be carrying debt. But the real problem isn't that you're making payments. It's that you haven't been shown how interest changes the game. In the next section, I'll show you the shift that helps you make more of every payment count, and why understanding this changes how you attack debt forever. If you want your debt to go down faster, you need more of every payment reducing your balance instead of paying interest. The solution is making sure more of your payment reaches the balance instead of being absorbed by interest. That starts with understanding your debt. Take a close look at the interest rate on each balance you owe. If one debt is charging much more than the others, every month you leave it alone, it's quietly taking a larger share of your money. That's why many people choose to pay the minimum on every debt, then put every extra dollar toward the balance with the highest interest rate first. As that expensive debt disappears, more of your future payments start reducing what you actually owe instead of covering interest charges. If lowering your interest rate is an option through refinancing, consolidating, or a balance transfer that truly saves money, that can also help more of your payment work for you. The important thing is understanding the total cost before making any change. The goal isn't just to send money to your creditors. The goal is to make every dollar push your balance down as efficiently as possible. Once you start thinking that way, your payments stop feeling like they're disappearing, and you begin seeing real progress instead of just keeping up with interest. Here's a simple habit that can change how you look at debt. The next time you make a payment, don't just ask yourself, how much did I pay? Ask, how much did my balance actually go down? That one question helps you see whether your money is reducing your debt or mostly covering interest. Then take a few minutes to list all of your debts with their balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. Seeing everything in one place makes it much easier to decide where extra money will have the biggest impact. That's exactly what Beth discovered when she listed every debt, every interest rate, and every minimum payment. She realized she had been spreading every extra dollar across several debts because it felt fair. But after seeing how much interest one balance was charging, she focused her extra payments there first. At first, the change felt small. Then her balances started falling faster, and for the first time, she could actually see her progress. You don't have to pay off all your debt this month. You just need to understand where your money is making the biggest difference. Once you do, every payment becomes part of a plan instead of another month of wondering why you still owe so much. Today you learned that the problem isn't necessarily that you're making the wrong payments, it's that interest can quietly slow your progress in ways most people never notice. Once you understand how it works, you can make smarter decisions that help more of your money reduce your debt instead of simply paying for time. But getting out of debt is only part of building a stronger financial future. Have you ever received a raise, expected your finances to improve, and then wondered where all the extra money went? In the next video, Where Did Your Raise Go?, we'll look at why higher income doesn't always lead to greater financial freedom, and how to make sure your next raise actually moves you forward. The next video isn't ready yet, but if you want to understand why taking control of your money matters far beyond paying off debt, I'd recommend watching If You Don't Control Your Money, It Controls You. It shows how your financial decisions affect your freedom, stability, opportunities, and the future you're working toward. If this series is helping you build a stronger financial life, I'd love to have you continue the journey by subscribing. And if you know someone who's frustrated because their debt never seems to go down, share this video with them, it may help them finally understand why.